Although the fresh new Motorola One Zoom belongs to the Moto One family, it couldn't be more different from its siblings like the One Action and the One Vision. For a start, unlike the others, it's not actually an Android One handset, despite rocking a stock version of Google's OS. And the Zoom is also the blingiest member of the group by far, packing fancy features like an OLED screen, quad lens camera and a swanky LED logo. If this lot was the Motorola One Direction group, this would definitely be the Harry Styles of the gang. And the good news is that Motorola has finally learned how to spell the word Zoom. Hooray! Of course, all of this extra swagger will set you back. The Motorola One Zoom will cost you 400 quid, which is a serious bump up compared to the rest of the Moto One family, and it puts it in line with the likes of the Honor 20 series. So is this an essential mid-range mobile for more demanding fans? Well, I've been using it as my full-time personal handset for a good few days now, and here is my in-depth Motorola One Zoom review. And for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So first up, I think this is probably the classiest Moto phone that I have ever fondled. Although the Zoom is coated in glass front and back just like any other Motorola handset of recent times, the satin finish on that arse end gives it a more of a metallic style sheen, complete with an attractive grain effect. It's anti-smudge as well, and while it does get a little bit greasy after plenty of handling, just a super quick t-shirt wipe will sort it right out. This grey model is certainly very smart indeed, but if you prefer a splash of vibrancy, then check out the purple version instead. I went hands-on with that at IFA's. Go check out my hands-on Motorola Zoom review for a closer look at that bad boy. You don't get any dedicated water resistance here, although the Motorola One Zoom is P2I splash resistant, so no worries if you spill your shandy on it. And that backside seems tough enough to deal with everyday life thanks to the Gorilla Glass 3 coating. You do also get a transparent cover generously bundled in the box as well, as you'll see if you go check out my full Motorola One Zoom unboxing video, but I left that out for the duration of the review, and touch wood, no little scratches or nicks to speak of. The same can't quite be said for the display, however. A couple of light scratches have already appeared and I haven't even dropped the bugger or anything. So you will definitely want to consider bagging yourself a screen protector if you grab the One Zoom, although that might meddle a little bit with the in-display fingerprint sensor. This screen-mounted scanner is yet another premium feature that sets the Motorola One Zoom apart from its brethren. It's not the quickest sensor around. You'll need to tap the display or the power button to actually wake it up for one, while the unlocking action takes around a second or so, but no complaints as far as accuracy goes. And there is always the face unlock feature to fall back on if you need it. And while we're on the subject of that 6.4-inch screen, it's absolutely gorgeous. You get OLED tech here on the Motorola Zoom instead of the usual IPS panel, something that's reasonably rare at this price point, so you can expect deep blacks, strong contrast and all-round eye candy, although unfortunately you won't get full HDR loveliness from the likes of Netflix and Prime Video. Those colours pop right at your face unless you deliberately dial them down in the settings, while the top brightness level is a match for harsh daylight. And yes, there is a nipple notch intruding at the top end of the screen, but it's nothing too troublesome. Sadly, despite that OLED tech, you do not get an always-on display here on the Motorola One Zoom. You can wake the screen with a quick tap and then actually interact with those waiting notifications to see what is hanging about, and of course you do have that light up LED notifications light on the back as well. But still, an always-on display option would have at least been nice, especially as you can set a wallpaper for whenever the Motorola One Zoom is docked or charging. And said notifications LED around back isn't quite powerful enough to get your attention if you're sat outdoors. As for the audio, well, it's once again a mono speaker output, although instead of being housed at the bottom of the Motorola One Zoom, it's actually stuck away up top here, which is kind of unusual. It's reasonably powerful, of course easy to muffle with your palms when you're gaming or watching a movie, so you'll have to watch out for that. But the other good news is you do at least get a headphone jack for plugging in a wired pair. Now, Motorola has added a few features of its own to the stock Android Pie experience, including the aforementioned face unlock and plenty of gesture controls. That essential one-handed mode makes a welcome return because of course the Zoom is a bit of a handful and a half, while the attentive display feature keeps the phone from hibernating while you're staring at the screen. Besides that, it's a nice clean, tidy UI unfettered by crapware and other unnecessaries. Lovely stuff. Now, performance. This is one area questioned by a lot of commenters on my hands-on. You get a Snapdragon 675 stuffed inside that sexy chassis, backed by 4 gigs of RAM. But the good news is that's plenty good enough for everyday shenanigans. I didn't notice the One Zoom stumble even when I was split screening with 2 apps and streaming music all at the same time. And you can 100% go gaming all day long with this thing as well. PUBG Mobile played on the high detail levels with a perfectly smooth frame rate, and I found that I stood a decent chance against the competition. And I was hoping for great battery life from this thing as well, and once again the Motorola One Zoom did not disappoint. I found that even at the end of a very long, very intensive day where you spend a good chunk of it just staring at that screen, streaming media, playing with the camera, all kinds of stuff, you always have juice left at the end of it. I never once had to go rushing for a plug because I thought it was about to die. And with restrained use, you can even go 2 full days between charges, while the 15-watt turbo power recharge tech means you get just enough power to last your commute in just 10 short minutes. And of course, I've saved the sexiest feature for last just to make sure that you buggers don't click off the review before it's all done and dusted. Although if you did just skip through the video to get to this bit, then touché, you gits. What I'm banging on about is, of course, that quad lens rear camera, a first for Motorola and a serious rival to the Honor 20 Pro's own optics. That 48 megapixel main snapper sits alongside a telephoto lens with a 3x optical zoom and optical image stabilization built in, plus a wide angle lens and a depth sensor for those portrait shenanigans. Impressive hardware for sure, but is it actually any good? Well, to find out, you'll have to go check out my in-depth Motorola One Zoom camera review live right now. And if I'm not smashed out of my tiny little mind when I hit publish on this video, I'll even throw up a link jobby somewhere up there so you can skip straight to it. Don't say I'm not good to you people. So that's what I think of the Motorola One Zoom after using it as my personal blower. It's certainly stiff competition for the likes of the Honor 20 handsets, the Pixel 3a and other £400 smartphones. You get a premium feature set for half the cost of many flagships, which is great news if you can't afford to throw a cool grand at the likes of Apple or Samsung. So now the big question, are you tempted by the Motorola One Zoom? It's obviously a very different prospect from the rest of the Motorola One family, a bit more premium but still at a reasonable asking price. So it'd be great to hear your thoughts, and if you haven't done already, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech. Cheers everyone, love you!